Okay, nobody's joined me so far tonight, but I'm going to just go, so I'm just going to go ahead and talk about what's required this week. Let me know if you have any questions. Um, for AOC1, you'll learn about application settings, how to use NS user defaults to save and load settings across multiple runs of your application. So this is used for small amounts of data, usually for settings. Normally we wouldn't use NS user defaults to save like event lists as we're doing in the assignment, but this teaches you how to use it. Prepare for segue, how to use prepare for segue for passing data back and forth between views. How to pass data back from a child to a parent view with an unwind segue. How to go to another view controller conditionally. You'll be learning some basics about inheritance. Okay, and your next project will require you to take the event planner that you already created for project 3 and add in the ability to save and load data to NS user defaults. You need to remove the delegate feature that passed the event info in your previous project, and for this project you're going to use an unwind segue and prepare for segue, or the method that is talked about for going to another view controller conditionally. Let's see. You are required to use an unwind segue to pass the data. Otherwise, you can figure out how you would best like to architect this. You want to remove the delegate pattern, or if you prefer, you can start a blank project. Add a save button to the head of the first view and attach an IB action and click event to that. When the user clicks the save button on the first view, use NS user defaults to save the text in the text view. And when the application loads, use NS user defaults to load any previously saved text and to drop it into the text view. Okay, in the add event view, when moving from the add event view to the main view, append the new event to an NS mutable string containing the complete task list text, appended with all entries, just like you did before, and display an error message if the user tries to save a blank event. And that should cause the user to remain on the add event view until the text is entered. No blank event should be accepted. In order to do this, you may want to replace prepare for segue sender with the should perform segue with identifier sender method, which will allow you to go to another view controller conditionally. There's a link above the resource. There's a link under resources with information about how to do that. Okay, for AOC2, you learn about view animations, how to use them and when to use them. Gestures, so you're going to be learning how to use the swipe gesture to move UI information, and how to detect one or more taps on a UI element. You're going to be learning how to use gestures actually with code and with storyboard segues. You're required in your project to use a swipe gesture instead of buttons to move back and forth between your views, and I would recommend that you go with the swipe gestures with storyboard segues because it's much simpler. You'll learn about File Manager, how to get the path to directories on the file system, and how to use NS File Manager to list the files in the directories, and how to determine if a file exists and to create a file. You'll learn how to use NS user defaults to save application settings, how to save and load user settings across multiple runs of your application. how to launch Safari, so how to create a URL string and use it to launch Safari from within your application, and how to use prepare for segue, passing back data with an unwind segue, swipe gestures with storyboard segues, and going to another view controller conditionally with the should perform segue with identifier sender method. Okay, so your assignment is essentially similar to the one for AOC1, except for you are using swipe gestures instead of buttons to move between the two, to set off the movement between the two views. So, that ought to about cover it. Let me know if you have problems or questions, and have a good night.